I'm Rick Smith. I'm a member of the Cape and Islands Model Railroad Association. I've been a member since 1992, so it's been a long time. I'm not quite a charter member. One of my friends, Steve Dominguez, was an engineer. I worked with him at Data Marine years ago, and he was here when they started the club. And one day he said, "You've got to come into this great club and check it out." So he brought me down here, and I've been a member ever since. The club name was an interesting thing. Some of our early members got together, and we were thinking of all kinds of odd names. Cape Cod Model Railroad Club was already taken, so we couldn't use that one. It's like, well, what if somebody from Nantucket or Martha's Vineyard wanted to come over and join the club? We wouldn't stop them. So let's call it the Cape and Islands Model Railroad Association. We're not an actual 401c organization in the state. We're just an association of friends. We exist at the benefit of the shop, Centerline Hobbies, downstairs. They've let us use this space the whole time. So they're providing the space, the heating, the lights, all that good stuff. So that's been really beneficial. In return, we have these open houses, and we bring a lot of people in through the shop and help them boost their sales and recognition of the shop. So Nelson Gore is the owner of the shop. The way the layout actually started is this used to be a racetrack for electric cars. So he has a bench set up on the back with all kinds of outlets for people to plug in and recharge their cars. And that kind of declined in the early 90s. So a gentleman came in who was moving to Florida, and he had a layout in his house, and he said, "Look, I'm moving into a condo. I don't have room for a layout. So I will donate this to the shop if you guys want to start a club." Nelson said, "Oh, that's an interesting idea. We're kind of quiet upstairs. It wouldn't take the whole space." So he got together a group of interested model railroaders, and they went in with sawzalls and cut that into pieces and brought it up here. And that was the core of the layout. Well, being model railroaders, we're never static. We're constantly expanding and doing other things. This mountain was part of it. There's a picture in that document that you'll see that shows Nelson standing in the middle of it. You'll also see a picture of Kent Killam and myself. We were, in the early days, we were the ones who helped build this mountain. The mountain is made out of hydrocal plaster, and we did latex rubber molds. That's actually the rock down there that we took molds of. And then you fill it with the plaster, and as the plaster sets, you just press it onto the layout, and it sticks, and it conforms to the shape. And then the rest is just paint. Lots of challenges, there always are. That's kind of the fun of the hobby, is solving the problems. One of the problems was hydrocal plaster is a specialty item. It's not readily available on the Cape. It's used a lot in Boston because it's a very hard skim coat for walls. It's also used a lot by the art community for doing plaster castings of models that they make. So I would drive to Roxbury. There was a shop up there I knew that was selling it, and buy 100-pound bags of this stuff and bring it down here. We've got about 10 100-pound bags in this mountain scene. So it takes a lot of plaster to do it. And we started with wooden forms and stapled window screen over that. And then we'd take the hydrocal plaster, mix it up really thin, and dip paper towels in it and put it over the plaster. And that gave us the basic form. And then we started adding the rock castings to give it the appearance, the detail. The goal for the club is basically to have fun. It's a hobby. We try not to be too serious about it. But at the same time, it's a good chance to experiment and try new techniques. Like I had never done the latex molds and the casting before. So it's a great opportunity to try things out. One of the good things is that you bring together a lot of people with different experiences. I mean, I like scenery, but I'm also into electronics, so I do some of that. We have other people that just like to run the trains. That's their thing. By bringing together all of these different people, it allows us to do all these different things. But functionally, what we're trying to do is we enjoy building miniatures, and this gives us the palette to do that on. But we also enjoy showing other people what we do. So the open houses, you get to bring people in, and people come in and they say, "I never knew you existed. Wow, this is really cool. I'd like to learn about how to build a model railroad layout." So we spend a lot of time with them, teaching them techniques, everything from planning, how much room do you have? What can you really do in the space that you have? We also spend a lot of time with them doing track work. Here's how to do your track work, make sure your trains are going to run smoothly, and eventually work up to scenery and, do a lot of scenery work. I'm working right now with my friend's wife, Diane Costa, and we're doing several N-scale small themed layouts that she wants to do. She had quite a collection of N-scale, no place to run it. So we started initially with a 2x4 layout with just a loop of track and some basic scenery. Then we decided to do a 2x2 winter one for last Christmas. And so that was a fun project with little scenes of skaters and people on sleds and, putting the snow and all of that on the town. So teaching the scenery. And now they grew up in New Bedford, so they're pretty familiar with Edaville Railroad in Carver, Massachusetts. And I've always been a fan of Edaville Railroad myself. So now we're working on an Edaville-themed N-scale layout. And it's a real challenge finding things that we can adapt and use to represent what we remember from the old Edaville Railroad. This particular city scene that we developed, I'd been away from the club for about a year or so. And when I came back, my friend Dick Johnson said, what this club really needs is a city. And we're looking around and saying, well, where can we add on a city? We ended up adding this circular section. And he and I have spent a lot of time on it. And now we've got other people who are involved in it. But one of the things we wanted to do is we wanted to have 3 levels of model railroading. We wanted to have a subway system reminiscent of Boston. We wanted to have a middle section, which was our main line, connects to the rest of the layout. And then up top, we wanted to have a trolley loop. So I built the first subway station, and I called it Station Street. It's a freelance design. It's not a particular, but I went to Boston and actually took a lot of pictures in the subway of just points of interest that I'd like to include. We do a lot of posting on Facebook. I've got a number of sites that I'm a member of, and I put up the flyers and information of what's coming. We also have our own Facebook page, Cape and Islands Model Railroad Association, so you can search on that. And that also, we post a lot of pictures of just what's going on over time. The hobby shop, Centerline Hobbies, also has a Facebook page, so they post up on theirs when there's an open house coming up. We also have flyers that we leave down in the shop. Any model railroad shows that we go to, we bring a stack of flyers and put them out. So there's the Greenberg Train Show in Wilmington coming up in March. We'll go to that one. South Shore Model Railroad Club, we'll go to that one. And we're all friends of these people, so they're more than willing to let us leave out a stack of our flyers. So there's a few places you can get information. We're normally only open to the public during open houses, but we like people. We like people to visit. If we're coming up here during the week, and like I was up here last Saturday, and a family came up and said, gee, do you mind if we look around? I said, no, let me show you around, show them all the different things. I didn't have any trains running, unfortunately, but it was a chance for them to come up and visit. Normally, the club, the HO group and the N-scale group meet on Wednesday nights. We get here before the shop closes at 6, and then we stay till about 8, 8:30 or 9, depending on how many projects we've got going on and how much enthusiasm is carrying people forward. So if we're in the shop and someone asks if they can come up, we're more than willing to accommodate. The O-scale group meets on Thursday afternoons from 1 to 3 o'clock. So it's kind of the same situation. If you wanted to see the O-scale layout or talk to those particular guys, you would come on a Thursday.
I've had trains my whole life. Started with HO, which is this scale. I went from this to Lionel, then I got out of Lionel, and I got into the big stuff, the G scale that I had out in my yard. I had that for a few years, and then I got back into the Lionel again. This is where I am now, still into the Lionel. It was back probably mid-80s that I started building this layout, and it was just me involved in the Lionel at that point. And since then it's grown. Got what, 8, 9 members now, and they've changed a few things around here and there and made it better. And, well, yeah, originally, yeah, I did all the track work, planned it, laid it all out, fastened it all down, wired it all up, and it takes a lot of work. I like that mountain area. That mountain I built, it's got a couple of different waterfalls that come off of it. They're dropping it down into a little pond area. A lot of hard work went into that. I really love that. Matter of fact, there was one guy that belonged to the club at one time, and he wanted to tear that apart and make room for more tracks and whatnot. I said, no. It's not mine anymore, but my vote is no. Don't touch it. And everybody, all the rest of the guys agreed with me that no, you're not taking that all around. It's crazy. We've been talking about doing more scenery work, like trees and things like that. Adding more track work and doing that type of stuff, Improve it. They're gonna build a drive-in, a replica of a drive-in down that end in the layout. It's gonna be an area that looks like a drive-in. It's one of them portable DVD players for the screen, and so you can play a movie on it while the train is running. That'll be nice.